record this to cloud and everything. Okay, great. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. It is 10:05. Welcome to our Summer Bridge program series, our very last session for the summer. We are just so excited to be hosting, getting acquainted with CAPS, which is our counseling and psychology services, the center that's there at Dallas and Houston team. And so we are so glad that they are here on today. And what we want to do before we get started, of course, is to start off with some introductions. I do want to mention before we do the introductions, feel free to utilize the chat and introduce yourself, but take this time as well to, if you want to, when you introduce yourself, unmute yourselves, turn on your cameras. We love to see beautiful faces and talk to you. But if you have any questions throughout the presentation, we will have a question and answer at the end of the presentation. But this will be a chance for you to get to know our counseling services here at TWU. And what I'll do is we're going to save our speakers the best for last, because I have a whole bio that I wanted to, introduce them to you guys in an official manner, that is. So again, welcome. My name is Destiny Tolbert. I serve as the director of the Pioneer Center for Student Excellence here at the Dallas campus. I've only been here, since April 15th. That's when I started. So I've had 10 years experience in higher education and just really have a passion for students and their success. I had a really great college experience, so I obviously want to share that and experience with our students. And so what I want to do is, if you can go ahead and introduce yourself, just give us your name, your first and last name, let us know your major, your program of study, if you can let us know where you're from, share that with us as well. And then we will introduce our speakers on today.
I'll go ahead and get us started. I am not a student, but my name is Christine Torres. I am the Assistant Director for the Pioneer Center, and I am on the Houston campus. So some of you may recall meeting me at orientation. If not, I would like to officially say hello to you.
Hi, my name is Leslie Vasquez, and I'm from Dallas, Texas, and I'm majoring in sociology.
Y'all don't be shy.
Hi, my name is Italia Añiñaga. I'm from the Dallas area and I'm studying child development.
Awesome, welcome.
Good morning. My name is Samuel Gonzalez, and I'm from Dallas, and I'm studying psychology.
Awesome, welcome. And I'm going to mention Hannah. She put in the chat, hi, I'm Hannah Madden. I'm from Garland, and I will be studying photography. Awesome. Are there any others? Did I miss anyone? Okay, I don't think I did. All right. So we'll go ahead and move on. and introduce. What I'll do is, because I know y'all have a presentation, I'm going to stop sharing and let y'all share your screen. But as you're doing that, I am going to introduce our speakers. So first off is, and please excuse me if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, just correct me, interrupt me and correct me. And Dr. Rebecca, is it Lapidus?
Lapidus. Yeah, very good. Yes.
Oh, I did it. Yay.
Yeah, it's a hard one. Good job.
She's a half-time licensed psychologist at TWU, T-Bone Pickens Institute of Health Sciences, Dallas Center campus. Dr. Lapidus received her PDH doctorate, in clinical and community psychology from Georgia State University. She completed her doctoral internship training at the Ohio State University Counseling and Consultation Center and her postdoctorate residency at the Georgia Institute of Technology Counseling Center. Dr. Lapidus' professional interests include emotional focused therapy for couples, residency, empowerment, curiosity, continuous growth mindset, finding meaning and attachment, sense of belonging. And then we also have Erin Raspberry. She, her, hers is a licensed professional counselor associate under the supervision of Audrey Ominson. And so who serves as the licensed mental health clinician at TWU Institute of Health Sciences Houston Center. She received her master's education in clinical mental health counseling from Lamar University. She completed her internship training at the Nick Feedigan Counseling Center in Houston, where she provided individual therapy for residents of the Salvation Army family residents, middle school students at Leonard MS, and adolescents, young adults at NFCC, as well as co-leading support groups, suicide survivors of loss, and homeless LGBTQIA+ youth, young adults through Tony's Place. Erin's professional interests include providing personal-centered therapy to individuals in education settings, focusing on women's issues, body image, depression, anxiety, couples therapy, LGBTQIA+, counseling, sexual orientation discovery, and religious spiritual trauma. Ashley Barrera is a licensed professional counselor, associate, who is a licensed mental health clinician on TWU Houston campus, and is supervised by Audrey Ominson. Ashley received her MS in clinical mental health counseling from the University of St. Thomas. She has experience treating severe anxiety and depression, OCD, grief, and relational trauma. Ashley's clinician and professional interests include trauma recovery, women's issues, grief and loss, anxiety and stress management, LGBTQIA+ issues, identity development, diversity and intersectionality of cultural identities, mindfulness, and self-compassion. Awesome. Please give a warm welcome to these three ladies that are with us from our counseling and psychology services. And you can throw some emojis in the chat. You can, yes, thank you, Samuel. Let's give them an applause. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you all, to our counseling center.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Destiny, for that great introduction. We appreciate it. And thank you everyone for having us here. We're so excited to just kind of talk to you a little bit today about what is counseling and psychological services, better known as CAPS. What is our department? Who are we? And just give some more information that we hope is useful to you as you go throughout your time here at TWU, and hopefully you utilize the services that we have. And so we'll just kind of go forward. I know that we already got an awesome introduction, but just to kind of put a picture to our names, I'll just start. I'm Erin Raspberry again, LPC associate, and I am one of the licensed mental health clinicians on the Houston CAPS team, and I will let my other two counterparts just kind of speak up real quick and introduce themselves really quickly.
I'll go. I was waiting for Rebecca. Hi, everyone. I'm Ashley. Thank you for the great introduction, Destiny. And I'm also part of the Houston CAPS team. I'm so excited to be here today.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rebecca Lapidus. I'm located on the Dallas location, and in hearing about your majors, definitely want you all to know there's also amazing colleagues on the Denton location as well. So I encourage you to also look up our website. You can read about their areas of interest on the staff profiles, but we're all happy to serve you in whatever way we can. Nice to meet everybody.
Yes. Wow. So before we get started in today's presentation, we want to share with you a grounding exercise. We want to ground ourselves, and part of this grounding exercise is to bring our focus and attention to this present moment, to our bodies, to our environment, our space around us. So we're going to teach you guys a grounding exercise that we like to use frequently with students, which is called the 5 senses. So I can engage in the grounding exercise, and you do on your end as well. And I'll share with you my experience as we're doing it together. So the 5 senses grounding exercise includes tapping into your 5 senses. So we're going to identify 5 things that you can see in your space around you that are different colors. And then we're going to identify 4 things that you can feel or touch. That can include where you're sitting, standing, maybe a soft blanket or shirt. And then 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. So I'm going to start with me. So 5 things I can see are, and I'll show you if I can. This green plant I have on my desk. My blue cup, it's color changing cup. Love it. Another purple cup. I have a pink scrunchie, and my ally pin is white. So that's 5 things that I can see in my environment around me. 4 things that I can feel or touch. The seat, my chair is pretty firm and supportive. My shirt is pretty soft today. Love the cotton. My jeans are pretty rough, but also comfortable. And hair, pretty soft today. So good job for that. And 3 things that I can hear. So I can hear myself talking. Where our offices are in the Houston location, we can sometimes hear the gym that's next door with the weights on the floor. So I can hear that. And I hear the fan going off. So that's 3. 2 things I can smell. The banana that's right next to me. And my room scent. It smells very fresh, very cottony, very inviting. And 1 thing I can taste is the iced coffee that I made for myself this morning. It's pretty great. So if you were following through on your end with this grounding exercise, I hope you got centered back into your present moment. And this exercise can be used in a lot of different circumstances, like while you're in class or while you're taking a test, or maybe you need a break. So to help you ground yourself back to that present moment. So I hope that was helpful for you guys.
I'm going to talk about where we are located. And again, I encourage you to also look into the Denton campus if you're going to be more in that area. We have locations on all 3 campuses. I would encourage you to go ahead and reach out to us by phone or email if you want to schedule. At our Denton location, they are in transition because they're getting new office space. So it's a very limited availability. I agree, such a great exercise. And with our locations on Denton or on Dallas and Houston, we don't have a front desk. So there's no friendly face to greet you, unfortunately. And for that reason, we just recommend calling or emailing to set us up if you'd like an appointment or have any questions.
Okay, so we're gonna just kind of give some information on what exactly, are the services that our department provides for you as a student of TWU. And so what that kind of includes is a variety of things. First off is individual therapy. So you might, be kind of struggling with maybe some test anxiety or having some depressive symptoms. Maybe you're concerned about academic performance. Maybe you're trying to discover and on the journey of, sexual orientation and your identity and who am I. A lot of different things, right, that can come up for us, especially as we're going through a very intense time of being in our college years, right, and figuring out who we are in our lives. So we offer individual therapy. This is where you meet one-on-one with one of our mental health clinicians, whether it be on the Denton, the Dallas, or the Houston team. And you really just talk through what, are the presenting concerns, what's kind of going on for you. Your clinician therapists will kind of maybe teach you some strategies and just kind of help you process, your emotions, your feelings, and really just come to terms with what's going on, and develop a treatment plan, right? And how to kind of combat these things and be able to cope with them and move forward, so that you're successful in school and able to kind of process these things in a more healthy way. So that's individual therapy. We also offer couples therapy, which is a really cool perk. Especially on a university campus. This isn't something that's typically the norm at other universities, but if you or your partner are interested in couples therapy, maybe you're having some relationship issues, or you just want to talk through, maybe even talk through, okay, like we're trying to decide if we want to stay together or not, right? This is something that you can utilize our services for. The only requirement is that one of you has to be a TWU student and enrolled in at least one course in a semester, which is the given for all of our services. You have to be in at least one course, but then you're able to meet with one of our CAPS clinicians and get couples therapy services, which is really nice. Of course, we are mental health professionals, and in that capacity, crisis services are always a must and given and really important. And so if you are ever feeling like you are in a crisis or just very overwhelmed, I don't know what to do, and in need of services, we have helplines. That information numbers are on our website. They're also on the outside of all of our offices, on social media, all kinds of things. What is really nice about our crisis services, and we'll talk about this later, is that you're always 24/7 going to be linked to someone to talk to. And we'll kind of go through that in a little bit. Outreach and consultation. This is something that we do, and it looks different on every campus, because we know Denton has, a different necessarily population because they have freshmen all the way through, and they have, different majors that maybe the Dallas and Houston campuses don't. And our Dallas and Houston campuses are commuter campuses. So we don't have, residency halls. And so things are a little bit different. And so we have various outreach and consultation. So whether that's we have a pop-up table on campus or we're doing a virtual event like this, something like that. But we're always having, different kind of outreach and consultation things just to really increase mental health awareness and give information maybe on topics that you're interested in or want to learn more information on, even like life events, things that come up and out, and we're talking about it and we're giving more information, all within, the idea and motivation to just increase mental health awareness. And so that becomes more normal and comfortable to talk about these things because we all have mental health struggles at some point in our life. And so outreach, we're trying to advocate for that. Lastly, again, events, workshops, pop-ups, things like that is just all like related to, again, getting not only that you're aware of CAPS and our services and what we can help you students with in terms of mental health and counseling, but again, also outreach, also advocating for mental health and things like that. And so that's just a little rundown. Oh, Rebecca, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, if they would like to know about group therapy, those run in the spring and fall. And I know from personal experience, I've done individual therapy and I've done group therapy. They are both so valuable in their own unique ways. And I cannot speak highly enough about what I got out of group therapy. I know a lot of people are afraid of that format. So if you have any questions or fears and you want to process that through, reach out to us. But what I would like to tell you is our groups are run by therapists on staff. They are limited in size and people come on a regular basis. So you get to start to feel comfortable with the people you're meeting with, and you don't have to jump right in and talk about everything. So if you're kind of anxious, that's okay, that's understandable. And it can be a really nice, safe space though. And they cover a variety of different topics, from dealing with a difficult family backgrounds to dealing with the stress of being a marginalized population. And they also offer ongoing, typically, workshops or therapy session, group therapy covering anxiety or depression issues. But every semester there's a posting of all the different group options, and that's a wonderful way to feel part of the university, a part of getting to know a few students in a really meaningful way. So I really encourage that. They usually start I don't know, a few weeks into the semester they start, and once they start, they don't add new members until the next semester when they're open again. So please take a look at that and consider it, and just reach out to any of us and we can connect you to get your questions answered about group as well.
Thank you, Rebecca, for that little blurb. Appreciate it. Okay, so we will continue on.
So after hearing about our services and maybe you are interested in reaching out and scheduling your first appointment, what is the process to receive counseling services? Like, what are the steps? So it's really important to remember the sessions are free and technically they're included in your student service fees. So please utilize us. Your tuition pays for it, so we're here. Like Erin mentioned earlier, you must be enrolled in at least one course in the semester to receive services. And after that, if you are enrolled in one course and want to receive services, there is different ways to reach out to schedule your first session. So the first session is typically called the intake session. So how do you schedule an intake? So if you want a friendly voice and talk to someone, you can call the Denton front office staff, and at this number right here, 940-898-3801. Or if you like a friendly email, you can contact any one of us here today, and we will provide those emails at the end of this presentation to get you started on that initial intake. And so that email could consist of, hi, my name is Ashley, and I'm enrolled in at least one class this semester, and I'm interested in scheduling my first intake. And that's how we can get started. So what's also important to remember is when you contact either the front office or the therapist and you guys get the appointment scheduled, the intake scheduled, then you will get an email 30 to 45 minutes prior to that initial intake appointment to begin the paperwork. So that paperwork just consists of a bunch of consent forms, information about your rights as a client, as a student, and providing some information for your therapist just to know what's going on, what are the symptoms, and how can we best tailor your therapy experience for you. Something also to mention is that during the intake, your therapist will provide a recommendation for the number of sessions that you will be allotted based on what your presenting concerns are. So whatever you want to come into therapy for, that therapist will make a clinical recommendation for how many sessions to be provided for that. During the intake, so when you're actually in the session, there will be different conversations about, what's going on, why you're seeking therapy, what are some symptoms that you're experiencing. The therapist getting a bunch of background information, any history that could be helpful to the therapy process, and creating a plan with you and providing any resources that could be beneficial, like a group therapy or the Pioneer Center. So again, the recommended sessions are work to meet your personal therapy goals, which will be a collaborative thing with your therapist.
We just wanted to make sure you felt informed about confidentiality, because we know that's a really big concern for pretty much anyone in terms of feeling like they could feel safe enough to open up and talk. And first of all, I know there are a lot of words on this slide. The big thing to know is we're a place where we don't want to do any surprises. So our forms that you will consent to before you start will describe all of these things in words for you. And then in the very beginning, when we meet, we will verbally go over the forms and make sure if there are any questions you have that we can answer those up front for you. It's super important that we protect confidentiality. We want to give you all as much respect as we would want ourselves as that in regards to that. And I think a lot of people don't realize that there are a lot of laws as well that protect your confidentiality when it comes to this profession. As long as you're over 18 and you're coming here on your own behalf, we would rarely have any reason to contact anyone without you knowing that we're going to do that and with you writing your consent for that to happen. Not just a verbal consent, but you actually have to sign paperwork to let us. We are separate from TWU records. There's a lot of extra security with our records that that we are completely separate from the academic side. So I hope you can feel safe about that as well. Even if a professor recommends for you to come to see us, they wouldn't know if you actually came unless you decided you wanted to sign a release to have us tell them that you came. In terms of issues you can talk about, we really want you to be able to feel comfortable talking about any issues. If there's something you're wondering, would we have to report it? You can ask us ahead of time before you even talk about the issue. So again, we want you to feel as informed and no surprises and know that you can trust us. So please feel free to ask us any questions about that at the outset or at any point when you're working with us, so we can be as clear as possible and you can feel fully informed.
Okay, so I know we kind of hinted on crisis services on the previous slide, but we wanted to just share the slide so you can take a screenshot of this or jot down these numbers, because it's always just so important just to have this information easily accessible, not just, for you, but if you're around someone, another student at TWU, or just anyone in general, with the hotlines at the bottom of the page, it's just super helpful to have this information to be able to share, right? Sharing these lines, these phone numbers could save a life, right? In all honesty. And so, yeah, like I said, please take a screenshot of this. I'm not going to bore you with reading all of these word for word, because I trust that you're able to read these numbers and jot them down. But I will just give a little brief information in terms of CAPS and our crisis counselors. So during business hours, which is 8 to 5, the number listed here, 940-898-HELP, you will get connected with an actual TW CAPS clinician. Who every clinician on the Denton campus has crisis blocks. And so during that time, on whatever day and time it is, they are designated as the crisis counselor. So anyone that calls during, their hour and you're in crisis, they will talk directly with this person, and they will assist you and walk you through the crisis and next steps. And maybe it's they get you scheduled for a therapy appointment after you've kind of been more grounded, right? You've got to a more stable place. We're able to just think more coherently, right? We know, like, when we're in crisis and things are very overwhelming, it's hard to think about things. And so that could be something that happens, right? Or maybe they refer you to, medical professionals, or, whatever other services are necessary for that. So that's during business hours. The really convenient thing is that after business hours, you don't have to remember a separate number. It's the exact same number that you would call. And we have partnered with an outside business organization that is providing crisis counselors. They're, licensed people just like we are, that are answering and assisting your crisis calls anytime after 5 o'clock and before 8 a.m. So we have a 24/7 crisis helpline through TW CAPS, which is really awesome. So please, just mark down this number for you to just have, just in case. Of course, there are other hotlines, and those are listed here depending on what area you're in, such as the suicide lines. I will say that a really big thing that just happened was the National Suicide Prevention line just got changed to a 3-digit phone number, 988, which is really big, and especially in the mental health field, because you think about 911 has always been the standard, right? And that's usually like if there's a like a physical emergency or things like that. But now, National Suicide Prevention Line also has a 3-digit number, and it's kind of like a move towards saying mental health and things like this are just as important as when you have a physical thing happening. And so really easy 3-digit number to remember for that as well. But again, if you have any questions about this that you need more explanation on, it is listed on our TWU CAPS website. There, it's listed on our social media, or of course you can email us or call us at any point if you want this information at any other given time.
Yes, that's awesome, Erin. And parts of like accessing, those resources is utilizing the TWU counseling website, so the CAPS website. And here you can pull up the academic calendar updates, like where we're located and all the campuses, tips for engaging in mental health or telehealth, like through video, intake appointments. Something that we also offer here at CAPS are psychiatry appointments. So if you want any more information about that, it can be found on the website as well. As Erin mentioned, any information about an emergency, those crisis hotlines are there. Managing stress and anxiety during COVID is also there, and also information about our services. All our contact information can be found on the website.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about TAO or TAO Connect. I'm not sure how the organization pronounces itself, but this is a service that TWU purchased for students. And so it is free for you to use because TWU paid for it. And at the bottom of our screen, you can see where you would find it. But quite honestly, when I just go to twu.edu, I put in the search term TAO, T-A-O, and it'll come up. And you'll need to register with your TW email, and it will link you to this awesome service. This service is a private online library of behavioral health resources with interactive modules and practice tools to help you understand and manage how you feel, think, and act. Its goal is to reach you with your goals at your pace. I think that's really important, at your pace. And it's engaging and effective tools that it promotes for you to practice with it. These goals, a couple of the topic areas I thought were pretty cool for students to know about that they have actual modules on include overcoming perfectionism, imposter syndrome, sleep problems, performance and test anxiety, understanding and avoiding drama in relationships, healing after a breakup, grief and loss, and body acceptance. Those are just some of them, but I thought it might be helpful to know some of the ones that are there. You can use a screening tool from the site to suggest modules, but you can also just hop right in and get started and pick the ones you want to try. I did notice that they had mentioned on the site that the more people use the logs, the better they get and the faster they get. So if that's pretty much in general with therapy as well. The more you do things between your sessions and you track it, we can really see that that really helps people make progress efficiently. So when you're doing the TAO, you don't have to use any of the logs or screening tools, but they're there if you're interested, and certainly kind of being deliberate and filling out those logs seems to help people. So maybe give that a good consideration.
Yes, and another point, and you can kind of see on the screen where it shows all the little pictures and the resume. Those are actually really awesome, like mindful breathing exercises or just meditations that you can, it's a video, you can listen to it. So even something like maybe, you're like, okay, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I need like a study break. You could listen to that. Some of them are 2 minutes, some of them are up to, I think, like almost 20 minutes. So really depending on how much time you have or want to spend. But this is just a really great way for you to say, okay, I'm going to take a second for some self-care, right? Like focus on me for a second, listening to something that might be really helpful, help me ground myself. So definitely a super helpful tool, because if you just like YouTube meditation or mindfulness breathing, it's very overwhelming. There's so many, you're like, how do I even know which one is helpful? So this just has it all in one spot, and it's super helpful. You can pick the topic, and yeah, so we hope that you utilize it. Okay, so some things that we want to just share and shout out about CAPS activities. Of course, we've already talked about our services. So, not only do we provide individual, couple, group services, things like that, but we also do different things like we talked about with our outreach and our activities. And so every campus is different. You will see that that every campus kind of does their own little thing, right? But one of the things that we did want to highlight, of course, is our social media, to just stay up to date with things that are going on, like Rebecca said earlier, advertising, any groups that are going to be starting, or if, one of CAPS is going to be on at a pop-up table on one of the campuses. Another thing that we are starting is a podcast, blog, and YouTube video project, which we're really excited about, and hope that this really accommodates our commuter campuses and the TW community as a whole, to just be, able to listen to a podcast that talks about mental health and different topics throughout the month. So we'll be doing monthly episodes as well as monthly blog reads. And with that, we also want to say, if you are thinking, wow, I'd really like to learn more about this topic, or I'd really like to hear CAPS talk about, maybe, depressive symptoms or whatever else it may be. reach out to us and let us know, like, this is what you want to learn more about. Because I mean, we only know what we know, right? About like, oh, okay, well, I think that this might be helpful. But it's always so great to hear from you as students on what you would like to hear and learn more about. So please do not ever hesitate to reach out and be like, hey, like, I really like to hear more about this, because we would love hearing from you in that regard. The QR code that we have on here is really just a landing page where we linked everything from the social media pages to our podcast blog, YouTube channel. Also have the TWU-CAPS website link on there. So really just put everything in one location that's easily accessible. So if you want to scan that and check it out, feel free to do so. But yeah, just to give you a little bit more information on what's kind of going on with our campuses and CAPS.
Yes, the fall, and we have some upcoming events and that we're really excited about, including those things. So thanks, Erin. Here is the contact information for myself, Erin, and Rebecca. If you guys ever want to shoot us an email or to schedule. But with that being said, does anyone have any questions or comments? Emojis?
Just a comment. I just logged into the TAO website. So there is a lot of interesting techniques, some relaxations, getting stuck in your mind. So there's some interesting, getting stuck in our thoughts. So
Yes.
getting, I think started even with myself being, not being a student, but just a professional, just to be able to get in and help students access this resource. It's a great tool. So thank you for showing us this.
Of course, yes. I was going through it earlier this week, and it was really nice to have all those videos, and they're so digestible too, which I
Yeah,
love.
like what you were saying, what Erin was saying earlier, it's like, you do good into YouTube and it's just like, it's so stressful, but I just need like one good thought for today, or I'm just looking up how to feel motivated, how to stay motivated, how to stay encouraged. And this is
Without the
that one
ads.
platform for that.
Yes. Love it.
That was a great question. Thank you,
Yes.
Destiny. How should I make the most of my therapy experience? I love it. I'll tell you my initial thoughts, and then Erin and Ashley, maybe you can chime in. But I'm a bit more free flowing in my therapy approach. So my first and foremost goal is that the therapy experience feels safe, supporting, and non-judgmental. And if we get that to happen, then it's a success in my mind, because we are all constantly growing. And so this is just a moment in that journey. It's not the end of the journey. But in terms of making it a success, because we are time limited, thinking through if there's something specific you want to focus in on, that's a great idea. And definitely also being okay giving us feedback as well, so that, for instance, if I'm being too free flowing for you and you want more structure and you want homework assignments of what to do between sessions, or anything like that, you can let your counselor know if they're asking too many questions, not enough questions, anything. It's a personal fit. So I know a lot of us are raised to respect professionals and people in authority, and I just want you to know we think it is respectful to let us know your feedback. So we are very open to it. So those are my initial thoughts. You guys have anything to add?
Yeah, I think that was great, Rebecca, hitting it on the head. Like you said, we're all different as therapists and clinicians, different styles. I am a homework guru, right? And I also really work on person-centered style, which is I let my client really take the reins and really push forward with just serving as like a guide. And some students, right, some individuals don't really like respond well to that, and so we need that feedback. That is so vital to be like, hey, like, I'm not really responding well to that, right? Because we do our best to like read nonverbals and see like how you're engaged and if you're responding well, but we need that open communication from you as well. I also would say that in order for you to really get out, what you need from therapy is to come into it with an open mind, and an energy and willingness to put in some work, right? And really engage in therapy. If you're not in the right mindset where you're like, oh, like, I don't really know if I want to do this or if I'm going to put in the time, then might not get the results that, you would hope for. And so I will say that it is really important that, as much as, we need to show up for you, right, and be there, that you also show up for yourself. And so I feel like that would be the biggest thing, and really emphasizing, like, communicate with us if what we're doing in our style is not working for you, because that really makes a difference.
I really love what you both shared just now, having that open dialogue with students and showing up for yourself as a client. Those are like really key things, and how you can make the most of your therapy experience. Something I can add to that is doing a regular check-in with yourself while you are engaged in the therapy process, and noticing what's different or still the same or changed while you've been engaging in therapy, with that reflection of, am I accomplishing my goals here? Maybe we veered off in another direction, or we hit, or something new popped up, and that's totally okay too. And what I've noticed is really setting that foundation of practicing that self-compassion, that patience with yourself, because you're in a really stressful time period of your life, and it's okay to take your time and seek help. And yeah. That's a great question. So typically, how long are counseling sessions? So typically they're about 45 to 50 minutes long, so about an hour long. And within that hour, it's us building that rapport, that therapeutic relationship, and also making sure we're hitting on your goals. Do you, Erin or Rebecca, have anything to add about how long counseling sessions typically are?
No, I think, there are different, if you go to an outside place, there are different time things, like some counselors do like 90-minute sessions. We do like the standard 50 minutes here at CAPS. Now, given like if things happen and like maybe there's like a big crisis, right, or things to be done, like obviously that time constraint is not top priority, because client is like the most top priority with that, so we're not really worried about time constraints in that, but the typical like session will be 50 minutes. Any other questions or thoughts? Or if you want to give feedback on topics you would like for us to talk about in our podcast blog or future social media posts.
So, I don't know if this is just me, but sometimes I get very overwhelmed with like thinking and anxiety. So I think that would be something good to talk about in the podcast.
Oh, yes, Leslie, yes,
Yes.
for sure. Thank you for bringing it up. And can we just like take a second, Leslie, like for being vulnerable and sharing that you like have moments where you're feeling overwhelmed, right? And anxiety symptoms come up. So yes, that is great. Thank you. I think we do have, yes, in November, we do have plans for an anxiety stress awareness podcast to come out. So stay tuned for that. But yes, I appreciate your comment and getting on here and speaking about that.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else? I don't want to just like sit here in like awkward silence and anyone feel pressured to ask questions or anything. I know that used to make my anxiety skyrocket.
Oh, a discussion on imposter syndrome. Yes. Absolutely. That is actually how I picked my graduate school program to go to, was the originator of that theory. So it really, that hits home for pretty much anybody in college. If you guys are dealing with it, just know that that's very understandable. Sometimes knowing you're not alone is really helpful. Do you
Yeah.
have that one on the calendar as well already?
No, I was looking. I don't
But we
see.
would love to have you on, Rebecca.
Oh, unfortunately,
Three of us.
she was researching something else by the time I got to the program, so I am not as much of an expert as I wish, but definitely keep it in mind with everyone I work with.
Right. Yes.
It's very, very common, especially a lot of people who get to college have been academically strong enough to get to college. And so sometimes college is the first place where the rigors of the classes are challenging, and it's new to feel challenged. And that can make a lot of people doubt themselves. But we all get to a point in our lives where it becomes challenging. So that does not mean anything about you're an imposter whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you, Rebecca. That dose of wisdom that I need. But no, it's not a scheduled topic, but I'm so glad that that was brought up because I think that's super important. So we'll be adding that to the calendar and to the list of topics we will be discussing.
It's also a topic that blends really well with marginalized identities, because that can go hand in hand as well.
Very
Yeah.
true. Okay. Making notes. Thank you for giving me things.
Thank you, Destiny, for the suggestion.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's something I dealt with. So I would love to hear more about, just to hear what our students are experiencing and ways that we can help them and cope with it. So that would be something I would like to hear. So let me know when you put it on the calendar there. Let the Pioneer Center know, and we'll definitely be there. So
Yeah.
absolutely.
100%.
Were there any other questions that students that you had for our speakers?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So on the podcast, where is it going to be streamed on, like Spotify, iTunes?
Great question. It's gonna be through Spotify. We don't have like our first episode posted yet. We're hoping by the middle of this month. But it will be through Spotify.
And what we could do, Aaron, Ashley, and then Rebecca, what we could do is once that's posted, y'all can send us the link to the Spotify. We can include it in Google Classroom, and that's where our students can find all of the resources from the sessions that we've had this entire summer, of what's been presented in the presentations. But we can include that. We can also send out an email to those students and let them know about the podcast that they can definitely be involved in and engaged in as well. So
Awesome.
once y'all have that scheduled and set up for the year, just send us the link and we can get it over to the students, to our students for sure.
Perfect.
Be
Thank
so
you,
great.
Destiny. That would be
Mhm.
awesome. For
Yeah.
sure, we will do that.
Thank you.
I have one more question. If we wanted to schedule an intake, do we have to wait until the beginning of the fall semester, or?
As long as you're enrolled this summer semester, you could start now.
Mhm.
If you're not enrolled until fall semester, and that's when you're starting to be a student for the first time, then you could go ahead and reach out to us to get scheduled. So we could get you like on the books already that first week of classes. And so feel free to reach out now and just let us know if you're an enrolled student now or you will be in the fall.
Okay, thank you.
Good question.
Yes.
Any other questions? All right. Well, we want to appreciate and give another applause to our speakers on today, Erin, Rebecca, and Ashley. Thank y'all so much. Coming from our Counseling and Psychology Services Center, Houston and Dallas area. So we are just thankful for y'all. Appreciate y'all for the discussion on today, today's talk, just learning more about the Counseling Center and ways that we can get involved and utilize those resources and services that you provide through your center. So thank you again for being here, being with us. Students, please put your emojis, thank yous in the chat, or even if you just want to unmute yourselves and say thank you, that'll be awesome. Thank y'all so much for being here. What I will say is, please, please, please make sure you fill out our feedback survey. That is going to be, excuse me, that is going to be in that link there in the chat. So definitely fill that out for us and let us know how today went. Let us know how today went. Feedback is love. And please fill out that survey. Don't forget to do that. We would love to hear more about how we can improve with our sessions. And then just let us know how today's presentation went with the Counseling Center. What are some things that you learned? What are some things that you plan on utilizing those services and resources while you're here at TWU? So go ahead and fill out that survey for us. And again, thank you so much for being with us. This session is recorded. So if you ever need to go back and listen in and take note on some of the things that you learned on today and ways to utilize the Counseling Center services, you can always go back and look at it at your convenience. It will be in the Google Classroom with all the other resources that we have available for you. And then I do want to just mention to make sure you take advantage of some of the resources that we have included in the Google Classroom. We do have Christine Torres, who is at our Houston campus, who's part of the Pioneer Center, who has put that together for you all to take advantage of those resources that will help you and achieve and with your success here at TWU. So definitely do that. And please reach out to any of us. I believe Ashley and Rebecca and then Erin, they put their contact information on the slide there. If y'all want to put it in the chat just for the students to have it there too, you're more than welcome to. But yes, definitely reach out if you have any questions. This is what we're here for, is for you. And again, thank you for coming. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate you. You all have a great day, okay?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Nice seeing
Yes.
everyone.
Thanks
Thank
for
y'all so
having us
much. Have a
today.
great one. Bye-bye.
Bye.